Recall the parallels between Daniel 8 and Daniel 11. Countenance, face, Daniel 8:23 and Daniel 11:17, 18, and 19. Heart, courage, Daniel 8:25b and Daniel 11:25, 27, and 28. Peace, peaceably, Daniel 8:25c and Daniel 11:24. And the chiasm of Daniel 8:10 through 12 and Daniel 11:31 through 39. It is very important to take note of these parallels because they make up the structure of Daniel 8, the little horn. Keys to understand in Daniel 11. Let's begin by taking a quick overview of the main parts of the structure. On the left, we have Daniel's vision, Daniel 8:9 through 12, of which the upper half, verse 9, is the horizontal movement of the little horn, and the lower half, verses 10 through 12, is its vertical movement. On the right, we have the angelic interpretation of Daniel's vision, Daniel 8:23 through 25, of which the upper half, verses 23 through 25a, is the horizontal movement of the little horn, and the lower half, verse 25b and c, is its vertical movement. Let's first examine the horizontal movement of the little horn, Daniel 8, verse 9, and verses 23 through 25a. Recall the four horns and the little horn of the north. Recall its attack on them, but most especially its attack on the west horn, or pleasant land. Recall the pleasant land's identification with Judea, the promised land of the Jews. Recall the parallels between Daniel 7 and Daniel 8, hinting at the identity of the little horn of the north of Daniel 8, and the full disclosure of who the little horn is, Rome, in both its pagan and papal phases, paralleling the fourth kingdoms of both Daniel 2 and Daniel 7. Recall the parallel structure of Daniel 8 through 12, making Daniel 8 and 9 a unit. Recall how Daniel 8 combined with Daniel 9 ties everything together with the revelation of the Messiah, the Prince. The Jewish nation's rejection of the Messiah and thus his sacrifice made them a sacrifice which was accomplished through Rome in the destruction of Jerusalem and the Jewish nation. Recall the chiasm of Daniel 8:23 through 25a. Recall its second layer. Recall that the mighty and the holy people are the Jews. And recall that the destruction of the Jews under Rome was demonic. That is, that Satan was in control of the people and thus of what took place. Returning to the structure of Daniel 8, we see that the horizontal movement of the little horn is primarily focused on three parties: Rome, the Jews, and the Messiah. Pay special attention to verses 23 through 25a, the king of fierce countenance, which we have given the title of face. Turning again to the structure of Daniel 11 plus, we note that verses 16 through 22 are equivalent to the horizontal movement of Daniel 8, found in verses 9 and 23 through 25a. Verse 16 mentions the glorious land, Judea, or the promised land, representing the Jewish nation. Verses 20 through 22 mention the Prince of the Covenant, or the Messiah. And all the verses 16 through 22, mention Rome, but verses 17 through 19 specifically mention the face. He shall also set his face, verse 17. After this shall he turn his face, verse 18. Then he shall turn his face, verse 19. So indeed, Daniel 11:16 through 22 is the counterpart to Daniel 8:9 and 23 through 25a. Rome, the Jews, and the Messiah. The horizontal movement of the little horn, pagan Rome. Now we will look at these verses in a little more detail.